Hey everyone, welcome back to the Building Bigger Lives podcast. I'm Michael Regan, and I'm flying solo this week as I'm just returning from an event in Las Vegas, the Mortgage Mastermind Summit, an event I've probably been attending on and off for over the last, going on 20 years. Stephen Marshall launched this event back in that time frame as an event specifically designed for sales professionals in the mortgage industry, and it has since evolved into an event managed by Matt Emery today. And it's somewhat of a combination of vendors who are pitching based on products and services to the mortgage and housing industries, along with some, inspirational speakers that come to the event, some of whom are a little more technical in their approach, and some just have really interesting and inspiring stories. And so you get a combination of all those things. But I wanted to highlight some things that really weren't about the stage, because you can go to the Mastermind website, you can read all about the agenda, see the list of speakers. You certainly, now that the event has happened, can even catch the recordings. I know Matt has a paywall for that, and he'd be thrilled if you wanted to download any of those recorded presentations. But my main purpose in attending was to be in support of one of our strategic partners at Building Champions, and that is Knowledge Coop. Knowledge Coop, a company based here in the Pacific Northwest, where our company is based as well. They use that event as an opportunity to have some face time, not just with their customers, but as an opportunity as well for their founder and CEO, Ken Perry, to get on stage. And Ken is using that time to really put himself in a different light, or a different promotion than the other folks that are presenting from that stage. His desire is really simple. He wants to stand out in his authenticity, rather than putting himself in a position where he's selling something, pitching something, or really just standing up there giving a pre-canned PowerPoint. He wanted to get up there and speak from the heart. So we talked ahead of time about that. And I said, well, what would you like to tell him about? And he said, I really feel burdened to help people redefine winning, because all they're going to hear from the stage, from the folks that aren't pitching something, that maybe are coming more from the production side of our business, is, here's how to sell more. Here's how to make more. Here's how to earn more awards. And while all those things in their proper context are valuable and good, Ken really wanted to counterbalance that with a message around, is that really winning for you? And if it is, what does winning look like? And if you had to think about winning, what about winning in other areas of your life? Like maybe in your marriage, maybe as a parent, maybe in your personal finances, maybe in your health, lots of other areas. And of course, that began to sound to me a lot like the reason that we sit down with clients and create a life plan early in the journey of working together. And so as I began to, help Ken prep for this event, he pretty quickly said, you should come up and give this presentation with me. Well, after a little bit of back and forth over what's the best way to do that, we landed on an idea that I picked up at the Housing Wire Summit both last year and this year, which is every time the Housing Wire Summit has a featured speaker on the stage, they interview that guest. So rather than that person standing up on their own, with a slide deck behind them and a PowerPoint clicker in their hand, it's an interview. And so these are journalists, of course, at Housing Wire. And so their primary motivation is to get an interview, to get the real story out of these folks. And I said, Ken, let me try that. Let me take that role. Let me be the facilitator who interviews you, and let's get this topic of redefining winning on the table through the context of an interview. And look, if you're interested in that, we've posted on our socials, so please go back and check on those. It was really fun to get up on that stage with Ken and not put the spotlight on me as a presenter, but really to drive the focus of Ken's message through the questions that we asked and the reaction to the answers that he gave. And so it felt a lot more like recording a live podcast in front of a room of 500 people. That was a heck of a lot of fun. So that was on Wednesday, our arrival day at the conference, and we followed Barry Habib and Ryan Grant right before us, and Tim Brahim followed us afterwards. So when I think about those names, it was pretty fun to be in the middle of that group, because historically, over the last 20 years, those fellows have all delivered a lot of presentations to rooms like these. So for Ken and I to be right in the middle of them felt really good. we continued for Thursday and Friday in more of a trade show setting, because outside of the conference is a vendor room where booths are displayed with all kinds of products and services. And again, what I would tell you is, while there were many amazing presentations from the stage, it was really great to be in that vendor room and have lots and lots of one-on-one conversations. Conversations with past clients, conversations with clients I hadn't had a chance to meet in person before, conversations with folks that could become potential clients. It was really just a great place to network, connect, introduce folks to the Knowledge Coop that I might have known. They also introduced some folks to me that I hadn't met before. And I forgot how much fun that is to be in a booth setting with people that you enjoy spending time with, and then just having that natural, authentic dialogue. So it almost felt like Ken and I got to take the message that we had from the stage and play it out over the next day and a half in that trade show. Included in that, of course, are some evenings where you get to grab a group of clients and friends and go out to dinner, and that's always wonderful. So I enjoyed that as well. And then you get to spend a little bit of time getting to meet some of the other folks who are on the lineup card behind the scenes, and that's always great because, again, these are different people with different skills, different experiences, and as a person who's a coaching leader, I'm always trying to learn from those folks to find out a little bit more about who they are and what drives them and why they might be passionate about a topic that they're speaking on, and what makes them a little bit different than some of the peers that they might be competing with. So just a great environment overall for me to be in. So I wanted to spend this time today just recapping the event, because I know some of you have attended events like that in the past, and you may have strong feelings about why you felt some FOMO, why you weren't there. Others of you may feel like, yeah, I never want to walk in a room like that again because I've been there so many times, and I understand both points of view. I will say this: what will keep me coming to events like this in the future will continue to be the quality of the relationships I have that are also attending. If it's a place where we can all come together in a common environment and then take advantage of some of those impromptu connections, then count me in. If all it is just sitting in a conference room for 3 days, listening to speaker after speaker after speaker, look, I get it. Those of us with a little bit of gray hair who've done this for 20 years, yeah, I can see how that might be a little bit hard to continue to do. So you got to weigh that out. But my encouragement would be, if you're at all curious about these and you're at all interested in these types of events, go to them with the attitude of, who can I connect with? Because that's really, I think, the main value of being in that room. That said, I think next up on the docket, I ran into my friend Craig Davis, and he and Don and Gino are putting on an event with a guy named Todd Duncan, I believe it is. Just kidding. I'm sure most of you are aware of Todd. And Sales Mastery is now being co-branded with Momentum Builder. That'll be coming up this fall in Dallas. So check the web out for info on that if you're interested. That would probably be the next event on the docket that looks a little bit like this, and find out if there are some folks that might be interested in joining you. Because if there are, maybe you'll have an experience like I just did at this particular event. And again, the Mastermind Summit is in the books for 2025. Matt Emery, thank you again. Ken Perry, Kirk Faulkner at Knowledge Coop, Mac. It was just great to be with you guys, because I think that was really the draw for me. And I want to just give a tip of the cap and a thanks to my company, Building Champions, for getting behind me at an event like this, because without your support, I'm not able to attend. And I really enjoyed being there. And I hope I represented us well and carried the torch for another year in an industry that I know we've been working hard in for over 30 years now. So good to be with you all today on this episode of Building Bigger Lives. It's a short one today. I'm missing my co-host, Catherine, but hopefully you got a sense of what it was like for me to be at the Mastermind event. And again, I hope you'll check our social media, because I think that's where you'll see some of the highlights that existed from that event. And we'll look forward to picking up with another interview next week on Building Bigger Lives. So stay tuned, and we'll see you soon.